I was just talking with my cousin the other day about the state of movies right now, and from last year and then what's coming up this year, I agree with him. Guys, I think movies are back. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we are talking about my top 10 most anticipated movies of 2024. So last year we actually had a really good amount of incredible movies, and this year I think maybe even better. Looking at the slate, making my letterbox, because yes, I am now an official film bro. I made a letterbox last year. I'm really excited. We have a lot of really cool sequels and some reboots, but mostly what I'm excited about for this year is that there's a lot of original stuff coming out. And not that, again, I want to hate on Marvel or Star Wars or anything, but like, we're not going to have a lot of that this year. And that might be a good thing. Like, it just seems like even the sequels and the reboots that we're getting are from movies that haven't been done in a while, or are going to be a very different angle, or just something different about them, or they're very low-key movies that are very well done but not talked about as much, in the big mainstream blockbuster franchises. So let's just get right into it, starting off with the honorable mentions. Wicked Part 1. If Defying Gravity is not in this one, I will flip a table. I will always be there for a John Krasinski movie. Shelby Oaks, Chris Stuckman's first ever feature film. I gotta go see it just on principle. Spaceman. Adam Sandler in a serious role once again with Paul Dano and Carey Mulligan. Absolutely. Drive Away Dolls, pushed from last year, but still very excited for it. And Megalopolis. Francis Ford Coppola with a dystopian movie and a huge stacked cast. Yeah, I'm there. At number 10, A Quiet Place Day 1. Funny enough, the second John Krasinski movie I'm excited for. I kind of got a little bit more excited about this the more I thought about it, because originally I didn't want a prequel. I wanted like a wrap-up to like maybe a trilogy. Now that all of the alien problems are dealt with and we know how they're going to deal with that, there were more human problems that were sort of starting in the second one, so I wanted to finish up with that. However, the more I thought about it, Lupita Nyong'o, Joseph Quinn, that's a really great pairing right there. They're both incredible actors. And I do think that seeing all of the chaos of the original day that it started will be really cool. Even though we got to see a little bit of it in the beginning of the second one, I still think that it's going to make for some really incredible scenes. At number 9, Nosferatu. Robert Eggers is just amazing at doing historical period piece horrors. And so, of course, this would be amazing for him to do. And especially having Bill Skarsgård, Lily Rose Depp, and Willem Dafoe, this is just going to be aesthetically, tonally, such a cool movie. I wish it was coming out before December. It's kind of a weird place for it to come out, but I think it's just going to be amazing. Robert Eggers is going to make this small, intimate, but creepy film. I can just see it. And obviously, again, Bill Skarsgård being Nosferatu just makes a ton of sense. At number 8, The Movie Critic. I don't think we know anything about this just yet, but it is obviously Quentin Tarantino's final film, so of course I have to go see it. I wouldn't say Tarantino is probably maybe in my top 5 of directors, but everything that he makes I just absolutely love. Django Unchained is one of my favorite movies of all time, so of course I have to go see this, and I'm really excited to see what he's going to do with it. It seems like it's going to be at least an interesting premise from the title, whatever this means by The Movie Critic, but it's going to be one final epic from the director, and so I'm very excited for it. At number 7, Inside Out 2. So obviously this, being a Disney one and a sequel, it feels like it could be another cash grab, but when Inside Out came out for the first time and I saw it, I thought, man, it would be so cool now that they did like the struggles with depression, if they made a sequel and did anxiety. And then it's exactly what they did, and I'm so hyped for it. Sounds weird to be like I'm really hyped for anxiety, but you know what I mean. I just think that, anxiety plus all of these other like kind of more negative emotions being in there, I think it's going to make for some really interesting stuff now that we already know the main 5 emotions, and then they're going to come in and kind of mess with a bunch of stuff. I think it's going to be really cool. And just for the fact that Inside Out to begin with was already one of their best, if not maybe their best Pixar movie, both in terms of all the really cool ideas that they dealt with, but then also for the fact that it was just very emotional and very real. I think this is going to be really great. Funny enough, I think I had Elemental on my list last year around this place in the top 10. I have a little bit more confidence in this one. At number 6, Beetlejuice 2. I am much more excited for this than I probably would have been a couple years ago, because I just got into Beetlejuice a couple years ago, a couple Halloweens ago. That's one of the classics that I didn't really watch as much, and now it's become a new favorite that I watch every single year. And having Johnny Depp in there just like completes, I guess, the whole roundabout of Tim Burton and Johnny Depp in his movies, because that's one of the only ones he wasn't in. So having him in there makes a lot of sense. And then Jenna Ortega being there just is like not even a question. Like, of course she's going to be in it. And of course, having Catherine O'Hara and Winona Ryder and obviously Michael Keaton return, I just think it's going to be really, really fun and a great way to kick off the Halloween season. At number 5, Furiosa. Mad Max Fury Road is one of the coolest, most awesome, badass movies I have ever seen. I love that movie to death. The first time I saw it, it freaked me out, and it still freaks me out. But I think that this is going to be really cool. I am not always one for prequels, especially with like not the main character. It's like sort of a spinoff, but not really. She is one of the main characters. Furiosa is such a cool character, and I'm just excited to get back to the world, to the color grading, to the editing, all the technical side of it. I want more chases. I wonder if this one's going to be solely an action movie or if it's going to be more than that. Obviously, the other one had a lot of emotional depth as well. And of course, ATJ, Anya Taylor-Joy, always love her, so I think she's going to do amazing at this. At number 4, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. The new Planet of the Apes trilogy, which I guess now is going to be a quadrilogy, is one of the most underrated in my opinion. It's never talked about, and yet it was like almost flawless. Every one of them was just so good, and they actually got better and better, both in the story and also in the technology. Like, the visuals are incredible. And so I'm really excited to get to talk about those this year before this comes out. And this is one that I didn't know was coming out. I don't think anybody did. And it's really kind of cool that they're actually getting now to the place that we are in the original Planet of the Apes movies, where it's actually they've been taken over and it's been decades, maybe even centuries, who knows. I'm very excited, and I really, really respect this franchise because they take their time. They don't just put it out to get it out and get money. They put it out when they're ready. And so I think that this is just going to be really, really cool. At number 3, Joker, Folie à Deux. When Joker came out, I was like, okay, it's another superhero movie, but man, it was far from it. Actually, I guess it wouldn't have been a superhero movie, but you know what I mean. And it was some of the coolest stuff I had seen in movies that year. Obviously it wasn't a perfect movie, but I really, really loved it. There was so many cool things. Everybody's doing all the dance scenes and everything. It was probably one of the first reviews I actually ever did, and I did this stupid thing. But we have waited long enough. It is finally coming out, this sequel, and I'm really, really excited for it, especially having Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. I think it's great. A lot of people are saying that it's going to be a straight-up musical. I don't know if it's going to be like a La La Land, West Side Story type musical like that, or if it's going to be more like psychedelic, and it's in their own heads, and it's like 1 or 2 songs, and it's more, slower and romantic. I don't know. Either way, I'm really excited for it because I think it's going to be tonally very different. And kind of artsier, but I think it's gonna, it's gonna go along with the first one just as well. At number 2, Dune Part 2. This was one of the absolute best movie experiences I have had in the last couple of years. Visually, tonally, everything about it. It was a little bit slow, but man, it was such a cool experience. And I am gonna be there day one in the IMAX or Dolby Theater, ready to take this in. I'm just ready for it. I swear to God, if it's, I won't be able to handle it if it's not cool. And number 1, Deadpool 3. Yeah, I know, my number 1 is the big cash grab, but is it though? Because it's finally Fox stuff being put into the MCU, and I know, again, my number 1 is an MCU movie, but it is the only one that we're getting this year, and I think a lot of people are really going to like it, and I think it's genuinely going to be good. It's not going to be another cash grab, another big CGI fest. I think it's going to be one that people are actually refreshed with, because obviously there's Deadpool, it's not straight up MCU at the moment, and of course it's going to be bringing him into the MCU, and it's going to be, I think, their first R-rated movie. We've obviously had the first R-rated series already with Echo, which, by the way, I've seen 2 episodes of, and it's pretty good so far. You should check it out. But I think this is going to be like Multiverse of Madness. The hype for that is oh my God, who's going to be in this? They're going to bring so many people into this. Obviously, Wolverine's going to be in it, so there's already that. Hugh Jackman coming back for that one last time. I just think it's going to be so funny. It's going to be really interesting to see what they do with this. I think it's going to be way better than Multiverse of Madness in the respect of bringing more people in than we believe are actually going to be in there. But yeah, no, I am so stoked for it. And I will get to talk about Deadpool and all of it that goes into that, and Logan, because there's so many that I still haven't gotten to talk about from before I started the channel. So I'm super excited for that. I genuinely think it's going to be better than some of the stuff we've seen from Marvel lately. Plus, like, it has to be good because my number one a couple years ago was Last Night in Soho, and then that was okay. And then it was The Batman, and that was phenomenal. And then it was Indiana Jones, and that was, you know. So alternating, this has to be really good, right? Well, guys, those are my top 10 most anticipated of the year. Of course, there's a ton of others that I didn't even get to mention. There's so many monster movies coming out, which I think is gonna be really cool. There's so many really interesting new ideas coming out, and I'm really excited for it. I think like once again, like I said before, I think it's gonna be good to take a step back from a lot of the big franchises. I'm really excited for all these new original ideas and movies coming out. I think it's going to be a really good year for movies just in general. Well, let me know what your top 10 and honorable mentions are in the comments below. I'm really excited to see what you all are excited for. And as always, keep your hopes high, your stress low, and movies right in the middle. I'll see you guys later.